Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Chris Fairbairn. An American engineer held captive for 5 years in Iran is now free and on his way back to the U.S. His captors accuse 54-year-old John Pattis of South Carolina of being a spy for the CIA. The White House is defending Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas after allegations he sexually harassed a former female employee. It's unlikely tomorrow's confirmation vote on Thomas will be postponed. Your next news is coming up within the hour on 6 News, your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Good afternoon. Two public school figures in Slidell, William Fulls and Donald Crockett, have pleaded not guilty in a scheme to extort money from St. Tammany School Board contractors. Fulls has already resigned from the board. Crockett says he's about to do so. New Orleans police say have no suspects and no motive in a shooting that left one man dead. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Lynn Ganser. 4 people were killed and 2 injured after a student at the University of Iowa opened fire in 2 campus buildings and then killed himself. Authorities think the student was upset because he was passed over for an academic honor. And U.S. sources say there's a chance Mideast peace talks could end up here.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. Authorities say a van tonight slammed into a police car at the corner of Claiborne and Napoleon. The van flipped over, killing one of the 3 people inside. And police in Iowa City say a distraught student at the University of Iowa shot and killed 5 students on campus and then took his own life. And President Bush tonight admits that the nation's biggest problem is the economy. He says he expects the Democrats to make an issue in '92. Next news in an hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Chris Fairbairn. Firefighters in Spokane, Washington confirm 2 people have died in wildfires. A woman who ran into the timber where flames had spread and a firefighter. The mother of the gunman in that massacre in Killeen, Texas, says she talked to her son Tuesday on his 35th birthday and he sounded fine. George Hennard opened fire and killed 22 people. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana Whiteman. At least for now, jobless Americans will have to make do with the 26 weeks of unemployment benefits provided by the government. The Senate today failed to drum up enough votes to override President Bush's veto of legislation that would have extended unemployment benefits by up to 20 additional weeks. And executives polled by Fortune magazine rank Atlanta as the America's best city for doing business. Dallas-Fort Worth was second in the survey of 600 business bigwigs. Next news within the hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news
I'm Norman
source.
Robinson. The 4 police officers charged in the beating death of a motorist in Detroit have been fired. Secretary of State Lawrence Eagleburger tonight is offering to lift the arms embargo against the Bosnian Muslims so they can defend themselves against the Serbs. And on 6 News at 10 tonight, a local relief effort to help Somalia. Next news, next hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Hello, I'm Gary Mattingly. The commander of the U.S. forces in Somalia is defending Operation Restore Hope against criticism that it's moving too slowly. Marine Lieutenant General Robert Johnson says he's not willing to put his troops in jeopardy. And tonight on 6 News at 10, what went wrong with last night's Louisiana Lotto jackpot drawing. No winners with the new jackpot at $13 million.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Hello, I'm Gary Mattingly. The U.S. Justice Department is planning to file suit against major airlines claiming they violated price-fixing laws by sharing plans for fare changes through a computer system. The Justice Department began its investigation 3 years ago. And tonight on 6 News at 10, the New Orleans Saints chalk up another win, this time against the Los Angeles Rams. The final 37-14. The Saints run their record to 11-3. Next news in an hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana Whiteman. In Baton Rouge, a forensic scientist is examining the remains of a man who was widely known as Huey P. Long's assassin. Carl Weiss's tomb was opened today. The results of this examination won't be known until February. The Saints are now 7-0. They beat Tampa Bay 23-7 today, and a new call to find out who leaked to the media allegations that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas sexually harassed Anita Hill. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Russ Roberts. A weekend of festivals in the Crescent City. Carnival Latino is well underway, featuring Latin music, food, and exotic crafts. That's all going on at the foot of Canal Street. Juneteenth is being celebrated at City Park's old driving range. The party commemorates Freedom Day for slaves in this area of the South. And a little later tonight, the Delta Queen and the Mississippi Queen will set off for their 13th annual Great Steamboat Race. They'll cruise to St. Louis, arriving July 4th. Next news within the hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. An earthquake measuring 5.1 on the Richter scale has rocked Central California, but there are no reports of injuries or damage. The Space Shuttle Discovery is scheduled to land in Florida in just a few hours. The spacecraft is supposed to touch down at 1 a.m. our time. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana White, and the probe has begun into today's crash of an El Al cargo jet. The plane smashed into a suburban Amsterdam apartment complex, and more than 200 people are thought to be dead. Forbes has published its list of the nation's richest people, and on the top of that list is Bill Gates. He's the man who founded Forbes magazine. The 36-year-old reportedly worth $6.3 billion. And join us at 10:15 for 6 Sports Extra. Don't miss it.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news
I'm Norman
source.
Robinson. The Chief Judge of New York State is being held in a psychiatric hospital tonight after he was caught in an alleged scheme to blackmail his former lover. Details tonight at 10. Gretna City fathers have given the police chief sweeping new powers to go after drug dealers. And the new owners of Popeye's Chicken Enterprise are moving corporate headquarters out of New Orleans to Atlanta. Next news, next hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. Authorities are looking for information involving an apparent serial rapist on the east bank of Jefferson Parish. Governor Edwards is expected to sign more than $90 million in budget cuts tomorrow. Ross Perot continues to be non-committal about re-entering the presidential race, and former Alabama Governor George Wallace's medical condition has become worse. Next news, next hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana White. The New Orleans police have arrested one of their most wanted. Walter Johnson had been wanted for murder. He was spotted in a car this afternoon by police and was taken into custody. A specialist in medical ethics is criticizing the so-called suicide doctor, Jack Kevorkian, tonight. Kevorkian admitted he was with a dying cancer patient in Michigan today as she killed herself. And the UN Security Council says it has no plans to vote on Iraq's request to lift the economic sanction against it.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Hello, I'm Gary Mattingly. Brandon, Mississippi is mourning the deaths of 10 area residents killed by a tornado overnight. It smashed into a mobile home park. The twister killed a father, his son, and 2 of the boys' Cub Scout friends who were staying for the night. There is no grand prize winner in last night's lotto drawing, so when you head to the store to pick up your ticket this week, it will be worth at least $5 million. Next news in an hour on 6 News.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news
I'm
source.
Norman Robinson. 85-year-old Clarence Usner of Tarrytown was struck and killed by a car in the 600 block of Heritage on the west bank of Jefferson tonight. No charges have been filed against the driver. Police say Usner was crossing the street in a dimly lighted area. And a spokesman for President-elect Bill Clinton denies that Mr. Clinton is softening his position on allowing homosexuals to serve in the military. The president-elect is now saying he wants to consult military officials on the issue. Next news tonight on 6 News at 10. See you then.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. A fire gutted a warehouse in the Elmwood Industrial Center tonight. No injuries reported. And all clear has been sounded in Baton Rouge, where a chemical spill there resulted in at least 2 people hurt. And the latest ABC News Washington Post poll indicates Bill Clinton is expanding his margin over President Bush. The president, meantime, has personally taken Clinton to task over the draft issue, saying Clinton has hidden the facts. The president will be in Shreveport tomorrow. This story and more in our 10 p.m. newscast.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Lynn Ganser. Congressional leaders say tonight President Bush has vetoed the Family and Medical Leave Act. Ross Perot today met with President Bush's campaign chief James Baker and Democratic Committee Chairman Ron Brown. And Louisiana's Attorney General says he may not appeal today's ruling that calls the state's anti-abortion law unconstitutional. That story and more at 10.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Lynn Ganser. Louisiana has 90 days to appeal today's court decision that says the state's anti-abortion law is unconstitutional. But the Attorney General says he's not sure if he'll appeal. UNO's chancellor says he's closing the downtown campus and cutting back classes to make up for proposed budget cuts. And congressional leaders say President Bush has vetoed the family leave bill. These stories and more at 10, coming up on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Good afternoon. Senator John Breaux of Louisiana says he is against delaying the vote on the nomination of Clarence Thomas to the Supreme Court and still remains in favor of him. Senator Bennett Johnson also is sticking by his support of Thomas. Thomas himself is expected to hold a news conference this afternoon to defend himself against those charges that he sexually harassed a former employee. And some good news on the levee system in New Orleans. An inspection team has inspected them and found them in good shape. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. Orleans Parish School Board candidates square off tonight in a debate before the runoff. All but 3 of the candidates showed up for that debate. While the Saints are trying to up their record to 4-2, they are taking on the Rams at the Dome. In the third quarter, it's all tied up at 10. And coming up tonight at 10, we'll have a reaction to the first of 3 presidential debates. Next news in an hour on 6 News, your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Lynn Ganzer. The Bush administration believes Iraqi President Saddam Hussein is growing weaker, and U.S. officials say the administration is hoping to hasten Saddam's decline by securing a UN resolution seizing billions of dollars in Iraqi assets. A hospital in Greenville, Tennessee admits 2 babies were switched in the hospital and went home with the wrong parents. And office lottery pools are popping up all over for Saturday's $20 million jackpot. That and more at 10.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana Weiss, and authorities now say more than 111 people have been injured in today's California earthquakes. The first measured 7.4 on the Richter scale, and a baby was crushed to death in that trembler. Some highways were also buckled, and there were widespread power outages. And the quakes were in Southern California. The first, its epicenter in Joshua Tree. And heavyweight boxing champ Evander Holyfield and rap singer Hammer are considering being part of a group that wants to buy the Houston Rockets. They reportedly made an $82 million bid.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. A personal best for Saints quarterback Bobby Hebert. He passed for 355 yards today as he led the Saints to a 30-21 win over the Phoenix Cardinals. We'll have the highlights tonight on 6 News at 10. And some Coushatta Indians say they are opposed to a casino operating on their reservation in Elton. None of the members of the tribe were asked to participate.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. Some residents in Gramercy have finally been given the all clear to return home. They've been out since 4:30 this morning. That's when a freight train derailed. 3 of the cars were loaded with deadly chlorine. None of the cargo leaked, and there were no injuries. And tonight at 10, the latest on a record passing performance by Bobby Hebert. He completed 19 of 26 passes for 355 yards as he led the Saints past the Phoenix Cardinals 30-21. Next news tonight at 10 o'clock.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news
I'm Norman
source.
Robinson. Bill Clinton tonight is defending himself against the president's tax and spend charge. Clinton compares Mr. Bush to the Peanuts comic strip in which Lucy says if you can't be right, be wrong as loud as you can. On 6 News tonight, Leslie Hill reports a memorial to a Japanese exchange student shot to death in Baton Rouge and the reaction from Japanese citizens. In other news, controversial alleged bribery case of Marine Shale owner Jack Kent is headed to the jury tomorrow. Next News at 10.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Hello, I'm Gary Mattingly. Jazz Fest officials are calling this year's event one of the most successful ever. More than 330,000 people attended the 2-weekend event. Los Angeles residents continue to pick up the pieces in wake of 3 days of rioting earlier this week. Mayor Tom Bradley says he's satisfied peace has been restored and will lift the dusk to dawn curfew after tonight. And Louisiana's lotto jackpot will be at least $6 million. Next news in an hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. At this hour, an undetermined number of people have been injured and others have been arrested after a free-for-all in Toronto, Canada. Police there were called in during a protest over the Rodney King verdict in downtown Toronto. And this story from Chicago, a man has plunged his car into Lake Michigan, killing his pregnant wife and 2 of his children. 3 other children are in critical condition. Authorities say the man was drunk and driving a car that he knew had no brake fluid.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
Good evening, I'm Leslie Hill. The Public Affairs Research Council has come out with some eyebrow-raising recommendations for the upcoming Constitutional Convention. Among them, getting rid of the homestead exemption and allowing cities to impose personal income taxes. And all-district quarterback Ike Wilson will spend the next 2 years on probation after pleading guilty to selling cocaine to an undercover officer. His future as a Mississippi State football player is uncertain. Next news, next hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. The death toll continues to climb in Cairo, Egypt. 370 people were killed in a major earthquake there, including 100 school children. Meantime, some area families with relatives visiting Cairo are waiting to hear from their loved ones who may be trapped in the rubble. Doctors in Los Angeles say they found a human liver now for the woman who received the first ever liver transplant from a pig. The pig's liver was transplanted yesterday in Los Angeles. Next news at 10.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Norman Robinson. A 27-year-old man is under arrest tonight for allegedly molesting 3 7-year-old boys. Police say Andrew Youngblood, a karate instructor at Prest Park Community Center, allegedly molested the boys at a home in Gentilly over several months. President Bush has suspended aid to Peru tonight after that nation's president suspended his country's constitution, and a federal judge in New York has ruled that the U.S. cannot send refugees back to Haiti without legal representation. Next news at 10.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. St. Tammany Parish authorities continue to drag the Tchefuncte River near Riverside Park at this hour. They are looking for a 15-year-old Baton Rouge boy who was thrown overboard during a boating accident. And Louisiana could have a new millionaire in just a few hours. The lotto jackpot, $7 million. Next news, next hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. Azerbaijan is the latest republic to pull out of the Soviet Union. Lawmakers there have also decided to form their own armed forces. 3 different people have now been arrested for this week's murder of an uptown New Orleans woman. 4 juveniles previously charged are still being questioned in connection with another case. And there is now evidence 16-year-old Corey Horton may have been involved in a struggle when he was shot by police. Next news within the hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Diana White, and a 15-year-old Baton Rouge boy is still missing tonight after a boating accident. The boy was thrown from a boat that collided with another boat on the Tchefuncte River east of Madisonville. About 500 students graduated from Xavier University tonight, and tonight's lotto drawing is worth $7 million. Ticket sales soared this afternoon and this evening. Join us at 10 o'clock for all the news and also the winning lottery numbers, too. We'll see you then.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. St. Tammany Parish authorities continue to drag the Tchefuncte River near Riverside Park at this hour. They are looking for a 15-year-old Baton Rouge boy who was thrown overboard during a boating accident. And Louisiana could have a new millionaire in just a few hours. The lotto jackpot, $7 million. Next news, next hour.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. Louisiana's 3-cent sales tax extension is heading back to the House. The state Senate today gave its approval to the measure. Crews in Brunswick, Georgia are working tonight to remove the wreckage of a commuter plane that crashed on Friday. Former Texas Senator John Coward, 2 New Orleans area men, and 20 others died in the crash. And the Gamma Ray Observatory is up and running. It was launched by the Space Shuttle on Sunday. Next news within the hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Gary Mattingly. Weather continues to be a big story in our area. A severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 1 a.m. More than 5,000 pro-life demonstrators converged on the state capitol today. The legislature will tackle abortion when its regular session begins this week. And the driver of reputed crime boss John Gotti was the victim of a mob hit in front of his Brooklyn home. Next news within the hour on your 24-hour news source.
Now, the latest from your 24-hour news source.
I'm Lynn Ganser. A major theft ring has been uncovered at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. 16 people, mostly baggage handlers, have been charged with stealing $250,000 worth of guns, jewelry, cameras, and other items from suitcases. L.A. police officer Lawrence Powell will be retried in Los Angeles in October in the Rodney King beating. And in baseball, SLU shut out Hawaii 8-0. LSU and Tulane both lost. Next news in an hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News Update.
I'm Norman Robinson. New Orleans police officials are investigating an alleged case of child abuse. A 19-month-old baby is in critical condition at Children's Hospital at this hour. Detectives are questioning the mother whose name is being withheld pending further investigation. And the city's Human Relations Commission condemns recent flyers in the mayoral campaign that contain racist slants. Next news on 6 News. Next hour.
From From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
I'm Chris Fairbairn. At least 5 people are confirmed dead, many more injured, some seriously, after a killer tornado blew ashore Grand Isle. The twister ripped through the school while classes were in session. Coming up later on 6 News at 10, we'll bring you up to date. Next news in an hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
I'm Norman Robinson. The Coast Guard is now reporting that 6 people have been killed and some 21 have been hurt as a result of a tornado that ripped through Grand Isle this afternoon. Officials say a total of 31 people are unaccounted for on the island. The injured have been taken to hospitals in Raceland and Golden Meadows. We'll have a live report from Grand Isle tonight at 10. Next news, next hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
I'm Chris Fairbairn. We are now getting conflicting reports on the number of deaths after the tornado at Grand Isle. Authorities say anywhere from 3 to 6 are fatalities. There are many more seriously injured and dozens who are still unaccounted for. The twister slammed through Grand Isle High School, destroying much of the building. The forecast tonight includes more rain, possibly a thunderstorm, but nothing severe is expected. Next news in an hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
Hello, I'm Pamela Marshall. Governor Edwards has declared a state of emergency in Jefferson Parish after a killer tornado and severe thunderstorms hit that area this afternoon. 3 people are confirmed dead and at least 21 injured. The South Louisiana fishing village of Grand Isle hit hardest, the storm collapsing a crowded school and smashing buildings. More news next hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
Hello, I'm Pamela Marshall. Officials say the high school's 17-year-old prom queen is one of the casualties in the killer tornado that hit Grand Isle Thursday afternoon. 2 other people were also killed and at least 21 injured. Governor Edwards has declared a state of emergency in Jefferson Parish. Closing arguments are set to continue Friday in the federal trial of the policeman accused of violating Rodney King's civil rights. Next news in an hour.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
Good morning, I'm Lucinda Lang. The tropical depression in the Gulf has been upgraded to a tropical storm. Tropical Storm Marlene is expected to come ashore along the south to middle Texas coastline. Storm warnings are up from Brownsville to Matagorda. So far, we're not expected to be in a storm's path. And this morning, President Clinton is in Boston to deliver a commencement address to students at Northeastern University. He's expected to talk about his plan to cut the deficit.
From your 24-hour news source, this is a 6 News update.
Good morning, I'm Lucinda Lang. U.S. Roman Catholic bishops meeting in New Orleans have approved a resolution supporting national health care reform with an emphasis on providing health for the poor. However, church leaders continue to oppose using federal dollars to fund abortions. And according to the Pepsi Corporation, it's okay to drink a Pepsi. They claim the needle scare was all a hoax. Next news, next hour.